Hey, how's it going? I'm back in the video, and today I'm going to be talking about a potential mock draft that I had put together by myself. Now, if you aren't new to this channel and you've been around for a while, you would probably know this is a pretty different type of video than what I usually do. Well, with the NBA being suspended and everything, and we don't really know, and not much NBA news is coming out, lack of video ideas has been a problem, and I feel like this would be a great idea. It took up a lot of time to make, and I really am proud of the mock draft that I did make, as I completely scouted the players by myself, and I made decisions based on what I thought would be best for each team, and not just gonna bandwagon on what every other mock draft says or some team should do. So yeah, I am proud of this video, and I am proud of this mock draft. Now, there is one pick in here very early that a lot of people are gonna bash me for, but if you actually hear why I say it, then y'all should understand. But yeah, if you guys do like the video, at any point hit the like button and subscribe button would mean the world to me. And without further ado, without rambling on too much, let's get right into this video. Alright, so with the #1 overall pick, we have the Golden State Warriors selecting James Wiseman. Now, the reason I have them selecting James Wiseman is pretty obvious. They need a center right now. That's their only weak spot in their starting lineup. They have Curry, Clay, Andrew Wiggins, and Draymond at all the other 4 positions. And now I know a lot of people are saying, oh, they should select Obi Toppin, but I mean, I just don't see that, because a lot of people are going off the assumption that Draymond Green's like washed up, which I completely disagree with, because I mean, like, Draymond Green, he's not a #1 player by any means. He's not a scorer either. So of course, when Curry and Clay went down and he's now the #1 option offensively, he's going to struggle, because that's just not the game that he should be playing at all. So of course he's going to struggle, and plus he was dealing with injuries this year. So I think Draymond Green is going to be perfectly fine once Curry and Clay do come back. Plus Andrew Wiggins now, I think he's going to be perfectly fine. So I think they need a center, and James Wiseman's by far the best center. He's a very, very strong rebounder. He's a freak athlete. He has a decent mid-range game, and he can also protect the rim very, very well, and that's what they need. They don't need another scorer, because they have Curry, Clay, and Wiggins all to carry the offense. They don't need anyone else that wants the ball in their hand. They just need someone that doesn't need the ball in their hand, can rebound the ball, protect the rim, and play defense, and that's exactly what James Wiseman would be giving them. And now with the 2nd overall pick, this is the controversial pick. I have them picking Aaron Nesmith. Now hold up, before you click off and dislike, I don't think they should pick Aaron Nesmith with the 2nd overall pick. I'm just saying I think they should trade down. I don't think they should draft Anthony Edwards like a lot of people have him drafting, because, I mean, they don't need him. They have Garland and Sexton, and I don't think there's any reason for them to give up on Sexton or Garland, either one, this early. Sexton has shown tons of potential since he's joined the league. Garland's just in his rookie season, and you can't give up on a player in just his rookie season when just the year before he was the 5th overall pick. I just don't see how the Cavs can give up on that backcourt just 1 year after seeing what it is. And I mean, small forward is by far the weakest position, even with Garland struggling this year, as they have Cedi Osman at their small forward. So if they just traded down, got a future pick and a future asset, and then drafted Aaron Nesmith with maybe the 11th, 12th overall pick, or even lower, because they really don't need a lottery pick to pick Aaron Nesmith, they would be getting a dead-eye shooter from 3, a player that plays very good defense on the perimeter, and can be a very nice 3-and-D player to help them offensively and defensively, which they desperately need, as the Cavs are one of the worst teams both offensively and defensively. So if they are able to get a 3-and-D type player like Aaron Nesmith with a later pick because they trade it down, that would be great. But if they don't trade down, of course they're not going to pick Aaron Nesmith with the 2nd overall pick. That would be an extreme reach. But I'm just saying that they should trade this pick away, as I just think they're in a terrible position in this draft. And now with my 3rd overall pick, I'm going to have the Minnesota Timberwolves selecting Anthony Edwards. Now, Anthony Edwards is an extremely talented player. He's very athletic. He can play both the shooting guard and small forward position, and I mean, he has tons and tons of high potential. He's a very good slasher, and although his 3-point shot is not where you would want it to be, it can definitely be improved. I mean, look at Lonzo Ball. He had one of the worst forms in the league. The dude's now shooting almost a 50% clip from the 3-point line. So I mean, you can improve your 3. That's not too big of a concern, and he has so much potential. He is more than worth the 3rd overall pick. So I think the Timberwolves, yes, they have Malik Beasley right now, but like I said, Anthony Edwards could play small forward if you absolutely need him to, and now you could be starting, although it would be pretty bad defensively, D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley, Anthony Edwards, Karl Anthony Towns, and whoever they get at power forward. So I mean, they could still have potential to have a very talented lineup without letting Malik Beasley lose any minutes. And the reason I say that is because of how good Malik Beasley was playing before the season got suspended. So I think Anthony Edwards would fit perfectly with this Timberwolves team. Now with the number 4 overall pick, I said they need a shooting guard and a partner for Trae Young, so I have them drafting RJ Hampton. Now RJ Hampton, I'm not extremely high on him as a prospect, but I do think he's going to be a very solid player in this league, and I don't think they need another star along with Trae Young in their backcourt. As I mean, he has pro experience, so he's going to be decent. He can drive and shoot the three-pointer, and he has a mid-range, so he can score pretty much in any way, and he is a solid perimeter defender, which you absolutely need on side of Trae Young. Now, although Trae Young is an absolute beast offensively, the dude is a terrible defender. You can't argue that. He's just not a good defender. But I mean, RJ Hampton, you put along with him, someone that can score when he has to, but doesn't need the ball in his hand, but can also affect the game defensively. That is going to be very crucial for someone to have. I mean, to be a partner like that with Trae Young, as you can't have another shot chucker who's going to need the ball in his hand and score all the time. RJ Hampton is more than capable of not having to have the ball in his hand, but he can do it when he has to. He can score. So I think he would be a perfect partner for Trae Young in the Atlanta Hawks with the number 4 overall pick. And now with the number 5 overall pick, we have the Detroit Pistons. When their lineup, they need a whole bunch. They need a point guard, a shooting guard, and a small forward desperately. And now, point guard is probably their least needed because they have Derrick Rose, but I still have them taking a point guard and LaMelo Ball. And now the reason I say they're going to pick LaMelo Ball is because, one, to go along with Blake Griffin, you have to have a point guard for the future. And LaMelo Ball is most definitely going to be a very, very good point guard in this league. I mean, he's a great shooter. He can score from everywhere on the court. What a lot of people don't even know, he does play solid defense when he has to. He's not a terrible defender like he was in high school. He's a much, much improved defender, and he also has extremely good court vision and a willing to pass the ball. In my opinion, he's a perfect point guard. He can score from everywhere. He's semi-athletic. He has a good build, very good size for a point guard. His passing is very good, and his shooting is probably one of the best he's definitely a better shooter than Lonzo. So, I mean, I think LaMelo is definitely going to be a very solid player for the Pistons, and one of them they desperately need, as the Pistons have been pretty boring at the point guard position for a long time, having Reggie Jackson and now Derrick Rose. So LaMelo Ball would be a huge breath of fresh air for the Pistons to have a nice young player to lead this offense and lead this team, hopefully to success in the future. And now with the number 6 overall pick, we have the New York Knicks selecting Killian Hayes. Now this pick could have went 2 ways. One would be Killian Hayes and one would be Tyrese Haliburton. Now these are both very similar players, but the reason I went with Killian Hayes is because Killian Hayes has extremely good court vision. He can score in every way. He's pretty athletic. He plays good defense. He's very quick and would be able to complement RJ Barrett very well. And like you said, well, if they're so similar, why'd you go with Killian Hayes? Really, it's only because Killian Hayes was doing this against professional players. So, I mean, I wouldn't mind them picking either one of these 2 players, but I personally think Killian Hayes already has pro experience, and he's an absolute beast in every other aspect, and I love him as a prospect, and I think he would fit perfectly with RJ Barrett when he runs point guard, and their backcourt would be very, very dangerous, as now you'd have to worry about RJ Barrett, who can get hot, he can cut and do a whole bunch of things, but now you don't only have to worry about RJ Barrett having the ball, but also Killian Hayes, who can score when he wants to, can pass the ball when he wants to, and lock you up defensively, which would be very, very valuable for this Knicks team, and I think he would be a great pick to go with the Knicks. And now with the number 7 overall pick, we have the Chicago Bulls picking Isaac Okoro. Now, Isaac Okoro, I think the Bulls would be a perfect fit for him, as I mean, I didn't like him too much as being a top pick, but I love him right here with the Bulls. He's a great defensive player, a great slasher, he can dribble, he's extremely athletic, he plays very, like I said, very solid and hard defense, he can score when he needs to, and he can also develop a jump shot, which is huge. He's not uncoachable. I think he's more than capable of developing a jump shot, as he has shown flashes of doing it in college. And now the reason I say he's such a good fit with this team, as I mean, they have Kobe White and Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine is not a great defender. He's not a terrible defender, but he's not a great defender either. And when you get someone like Isaac now, you'll be getting someone that's an extremely good perimeter defender, but can also drive to the goal when he needs to and score. And he will be just perfect to develop behind him, as he won't have to be the number 1 option offensively. As I mean, they have people like Wendell Carter Jr., who's better, Lauri Markkanen, Kobe White, and Zach LaVine, all 4 of which could carry the offense, while Isaac Okoro is that defensive stopper that every team needs. And I think he could really fit together this young core and make them a very, very successful team going into the future. And now with the number 8 overall pick, we have the Charlotte Hornets selecting Isaiah Stewart. Now, Isaiah Stewart, I feel like, is pretty much just like James Wiseman's little brother. And the reason I say that is because, I mean, Isaiah Stewart is a very good scorer, or not a very good scorer, but he's a decent scorer at the center position. He has a little bit of mid-range ability. He's very strong at rim protecting, a very good rim protector. He hustles, but the only thing that really separates him and Wiseman is that he lacks elite athleticism. Wiseman is a freak athlete, while Isaiah Stewart's more of a kind of stocky guy. He can't jump too high, but he's very strong. So he's more of a bruiser than he is like a high flyer dunking type of guy. So I mean, I think Isaiah Stewart, the only thing really separating him and James Wiseman is their athleticism. So that's why I have Isaiah Stewart going at number 8 and Wiseman at number 1, because Wiseman's just a complete beast of an athlete, and Isaiah Stewart needs to work on that a little bit in his game, but I think Isaiah Stewart's going to be a very, very solid player for this team. And now the number 9 overall pick, we have the Phoenix Suns, who currently need a power forward and a point guard, but they really don't need a point guard desperately, as Ricky Rubio has been pretty solid for him, and they're going to have him for a few more years, and I think for sure with that big contract, they're not looking to replace Rubio yet. So I have them selecting a power forward, and at this point would probably be a steal with Obi Toppin. And now Obi Toppin, I love him as a prospect as well. Y'all probably don't think so if y'all read some comments I made on him, and also like well, I think the Warriors should pick Wiseman over Toppin and everything, but I love this prospect, and I think he's going to be an absolute beast in the league, and I think he would fit perfectly alongside DeAndre Ayton and Devin Booker and make a very, very scary big three going into the future in Phoenix. As I mean, he's an elite power forward. He has great athleticism. He can shoot the three with great consistency, especially for a power forward. He runs the floor, has a high motor. He can slash. He blocks shots. He's a good defender. He's extremely, extremely good. I love him. I love this prospect. And I think the Phoenix Suns would be getting a beast of a player with the 9th overall pick in Obi Toppin. And now with the 10th overall pick, we have the Washington Wizards picking Onyeka Okongwu. I mean, I know I just butchered the hell out of that dude's name, but this is another one of my not favorite prospects, but I know he's almost one of those players like you know what you're getting. I don't think he has tons of potential, but like a high ceiling, but I know he has an extremely high floor. So I mean, I think he's going to be one of the best players coming out of the draft into the league. I think he's one of the most pro-ready prospects in this draft. As I mean, he's a great defensive player. He's probably the best defensive center or maybe even defensive player in this entire lottery and maybe in this entire draft. He's also a freak athlete. He's a great rim protector, averaging 2.7 blocks per game in college. And I mean, also he can guard the perimeter very well for a player his size. But the reason I say he has such a high ceiling, such a high floor, but not that high of a ceiling, is because his offensive game is just so one-dimensional. I don't see him having too much offensive success, maybe like an 8-point per game scorer, or maybe at most a double-double type guy every night, which is a very valuable player to have on your team, because this dude's a lockdown defender. He's going to lock down the paint any given night, and I love this prospect as a defensive player, and someone like the Warriors, if they drop far enough, I could definitely see them picking him because of how good his defensive prowess is. I really could see him being an absolute beast for this Wizards team, because now you're going to have a power forward in Roy Hachimura, who has had a pretty solid up and down rookie season, and you're now giving him a center that is just as young as him and is very good. And then you're getting John Wall back as well, which I mean, I'm not ready to give up on John Wall like a lot of people are, so the Wizards could be in a very good position to make the playoffs once again next year, as they could roll out a starting lineup of John Wall, Bradley Beal, Roy Hachimura, and Okongwu, and whoever they put at the small forward position. And I think they have a chance to be very successful if they are able to draft him with the 10th overall pick. And now for the 11th overall pick, I have the San Antonio Spurs selecting Jaden McDaniels. Now, the reason I have them selecting Jaden McDaniels is because, I mean, he probably has one of the highest ceilings in the entire draft. Now, although he's an extremely raw talent as of right now, for his position at power forward, he has a great handle with the ball. He's very quick. He can shoot from everywhere. He can create his own shot. He shoots the three pretty well for a power forward. And I mean, he just has such a high ceiling. And I just don't see him going too high in the lottery because of how much he still has to develop. But I think if he's able to really hit that potential, he could be an absolute beast. And who better than the San Antonio Spurs to develop him with one of the best coaches of all time in Greg Popovich. So I think Jaden McDaniels would be a great pick for the Spurs, and they could definitely develop this dude over time, and maybe eventually he could be an all-star level player. I think he has an extremely, extremely high ceiling, and I think he's going to be possibly one of the more talented players players in the draft if he is able to develop correctly in the NBA. And now with the 12th overall pick, we have the Sacramento Kings selecting Saddiq Bey. Now Saddiq Bey, he is a capable 3-and-D player. He's an absolute dead-eye from the three-point line, and he would be able to replace Harrison Barnes or come off the bench for Harrison Barnes at the small forward position. And I mean, Saddiq Bey, like I said, he's a very solid, he's a very good three-point shooter, and he could develop into a 3-and-D player. He has good length, and I think he could be a very nice addition to the Sacramento Kings team, but I just don't think he's going to be a star or has star level. I think he's more of a career role player type of guy. But now with the 13th overall pick, we have Tyreke Haliburton going to the New Orleans Pelicans, and the reason I have him going there is because, I mean, the Pelicans are kind of in a weird position. They have such youth at almost every position, or such talent at almost every position, they really don't need any starting level players. And I mean, they have Lonzo, who I don't think is getting replaced by any rookie. They have Drew Holiday, who's definitely not getting replaced by a rookie. Brandon Ingram, who's an all-star, not getting replaced by a rookie. Zion is most definitely not. And Derek Favors is so good on defense, I can't see him getting replaced by a rookie. So really, no matter who they draft here is coming off the bench. Well, it just so happens it's Tyreke Haliburton, who's one of my favorite prospects in the draft, as I mean, just like Killian Hayes, he's a great passer, great scorer, can pretty much do anything on the court that you need a point guard to do. He's athletic, he has good size, and I think he could be a very solid player coming off the bench, and maybe even a six-man of the year candidate going into the future if he stays with the Pelicans and the Pelicans keep their same type of starting lineup. This team, I mean, Haliburton, I think has tons of potential, and I'd hate to see him waste away on a bench, or when I know for sure he has starting level talent, but maybe in the beginning of his career it would be a good thing for him to develop behind someone like Lonzo Ball and really help him refine his passing and everything. But I love Haliburton as a prospect and think he will be a very, very good starting level point guard for a team one day in the future. And now with the 14th overall pick, we have the Portland Trail Blazers selecting Denny Avdija. Now, the reason I have him dropping so far compared to a lot of other mock drafts, I just really don't like him as a prospect at all. And the only reason I have him picked right here is because the Trail Blazers need a small forward for the future. Yes, they have Carmelo, but they need one for the future. And I mean, Avdija, he has pro experience. He can shoot when he's wide open. He has decent athleticism, nothing great. He can hold his own in the NBA, and I mean, but he's just nothing special. He doesn't do anything to the point to where I feel like he's a top pick. He doesn't have elite shot creating ability. He's not an elite athlete. He's doesn't really do anything that jumps off the table at you that I could see him being a star in the league. I think he could be a decent bench player, but I don't think he's going to be a star by any means, and I think he's one of the more overrated prospects in this draft. And now with the 15th overall pick, in the final pick of the lottery, we have the Orlando Magic selecting Cole Anthony. Now, Cole Anthony also fell a lot, and I love Cole Anthony as a prospect. I just really love this point guard class overall. I think this is going to be one of the best point guard classes we've seen in a long, long time, coming in an NBA draft all at once. And I love Cole Anthony as well. He's a good scorer, a very good facilitator, very good passer, can score from the mid-range, he can create his own shot. Really, the only thing he has to worry about is his efficiency and playing defense. That's about it. But yeah, I love Cole Anthony as a prospect as well. But yeah, guys, that's going to be it for this video. So comment below, do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? Do you like this mock draft? I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. I want to know what you think, who you think is going to be good, who you think is going to be a bust. I want to hear all your thoughts in the comment section below. If you like these type of videos, hit the like button and subscribe button. It would mean the world to me. Hope you have a blessed day. Have a blessed day. So you need to have a blessed day. See you in the next video. Goodbye. Boo. Blah, blah, blah.